I love you. I love you most.
Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Decent Wrestling Show. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out my latest MV, which is of Marika Kobashi. I have noticed in recent weeks that all of my videos, there's at least one person downvoting it each time, which is kind of sad from them, to be honest, that they actively go on my channel to dislike stuff. But the funniest thing is I guarantee they think they're being cool. It actually helps my engagement. So yeah, I encourage them, continue doing it. It actually helps me. So thank you to whoever that is. But on with the show. NXT and NXT UK. So NXT 2.0 started with a match between Tommaso Ciampa and Grayson Waller. Before the match, however, Grayson Waller did cut a pretty nice heel promo. I'm really liking his new heel persona. Very entitled millennial is, I guess, what he's going for. And he's just very easily hateable, and you just want to see everyone just basically punch him in the face. So he's doing good as a heel. Enjoying that. The match was pretty solid as well, nothing out of this world, but a solid back and forth match. Grayson Waller got made to look good in this one, while Ciampa picked up the victory as expected. Cameron Grimes and Duke Hudson had a segment where they set up a hair versus hair match to take place at War Games, which could be a pretty fun match. I expect Cameron Grimes will be winning that match, as usually in those sorts of stipulations, the heel usually loses the match. We got a vignette for Tiffany Stratton, or Strayton, or I don't really know how to pronounce it, but Tiffany Stratton is Buff Barbie Girl, apparently, is her gimmick. She seems like one of those spoiled daddy's girl, is really what it is. She's had everything handed to her from her father, who does everything in the world for her. That sort of type of person. Cora Jade beat Mandy Rose thanks to Kaylee Ray's distraction, as Kaylee Ray was announced as the final member on the War Games team. Rounding out that team, that's going to be an absolutely exceptional match. I'm super looking forward to that War Games match. Diamond Mine are feuding with Joe Gacy. So Joe Gacy is going to have a cruiserweight title match against Roderick Strong. Now, before you say he's over 205 pounds, he is, but he claims that the cruiserweight championship is not inclusive because it, devalues anyone over 205 pounds. So they're going to have a title match for that. They were going to attack Joe Gacy, but then Harlan showed up and they sort of thought the better of it. Continuing on with Diamond Mine, Ivy Nile had another squash match, much better than her first one a couple of months ago, which was awful. This one was much better. She actually faced someone who was, actually okay in the ring, and she just showed off her power and her strength, and it was fine while it lasted. Solid stuff. The main event for the North American Championship, a three-way match as Carmelo Hayes defended against Pete Dunne and Johnny Gargano. A great triple threat match, 3 3/4. Just a really fun, action-packed match. Carmelo Hayes did retain his title as I expected. And then there was a big brawl between 7 superstars. Then Bron Breakker came out and announced War Games. And then they continued brawling. So that is going to be the War Games match. It will be New School versus Old School. Gargano teaming up with Tommaso Ciampa, LA Knight and Pete Dunne to take on Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo, Grayson Waller and Bron Breakker. I'm excited for that one. But again, another really solid fun episode of NXT 2.0.
Back to the Three Stooges at the desk.
Only a couple of notes about NXT UK. Mark Andrews and Jordan Devlin had a very good match. Just a solid opener. Won by Jordan Devlin, 3.5 stars. There was a funny moment, well, for me, because, well, basically, Flash Morgan Webster's going to be away for a while due to an injury. Kenny Williams was backstage making fun of him and Andrews, and Andrews says, I'm not injured, so you can fight me. But, I mean, at the tapings, Mark Andrews was injured and he's going to be out for 3 months, so bit of bad foreshadowing there. Ginny had a squash match. She's no longer with Joseph Connors, thank goodness. Back to winning ways for Ginny as she rises up the ranks again in the women's division. Main event, the Heritage Cup was on the line as Noam Dar defended against Sam Gradwell. Sam Gradwell was not happy. He was woken up at 3 in the morning of Noam Dar and Shah Samuels constant partying. Not very happy about that. He demanded it be made a Heritage Cup match. And Johnny Saint made his return and let Sid Scala make the decision whether it would be for the Heritage Cup, and he wanted it to be for the Heritage Cup, so here we are. Great storytelling match. Gradwell did take the lead, but Noam Dar did come back, and then he made Gradwell tap out by working over Gradwell's bad knee. Great selling from Gradwell in this one, and a lot of moments because it went to the end of one round where he didn't tap out, but then eventually in the next round the pain was just too much and he could not bear it anymore, and he tapped out and Noam Dar retained his title. A fun episode of NXT UK. 5 points of Smackdown. At number 1, there was a Thanksgiving leftovers match as Rick Boogs took on Angel Garza. It was a pretty fun match, nothing super out of this world. But for what it was just a nice break, and it was only a few minutes long, so it didn't overstay its welcome. Fine match, and Angel picked up the win. Another victory for Los Lotharios. Number 2, there was a segment between Charlotte and Toni Storm. Charlotte cut a decent promo, basically disregarding her loss to Becky Lynch. Toni Storm interrupted her and was going on about Charlotte. It seemed like the feud is going to continue, by the way, but they didn't have a match here or didn't set a date for a match. But in the end, Charlotte embarrassed Toni Storm by throwing pie in her face. Well, we'll see where that goes. Hopefully it ends with Toni Storm becoming the champion. Number 3, Cesaro had a match with Rich Holland, and it was a pretty strong showing for Rich Holland. He looked really good in this, hit some really cool, unique power moves. I actually really enjoyed this one. I give it 3 stars. I thought it was a good match. It only went a couple of minutes though, very short. Cesaro did pick up the win against Rich Holland. He got a sneak win. But Rich Holland looked good in defeat here and had a really strong showing. So positive things to say about Rich Holland. Point 4, there was a great opening segment because, of course, Roman Reigns opened the show and he is an absolute master at everything he does. Just cut a great promo. You know, he's beaten them all. He's beaten every single person. Everyone else is a loser, and the biggest loser is Brock Lesnar. And there was a ongoing rumour throughout the show was the story that Brock Lesnar's suspension could be lifted. But as his suspension was still going on, we needed to find a new challenger for the Universal Championship. That brings us on to the end of the show, point 5. There was a Black Friday Battle Royal with the winner receiving a title shot. Drew McIntyre was actually left out of it. He wasn't too happy about that, so he came into the ring swinging his sword at everyone. Eventually he did leave throughout the break. Then, with the Battle Royal, much better than the Survivor Series 1, this was actually a good Battle Royal. This was how you do a Battle Royal. All like the lower card guys got thrown out first. And then you got longer sequences between the good talent. The upper card talent, not good. Sorry, the lower card people are still good, but I'm talking, you know what I mean. Good as in higher card talent. It looked like Jeff Hardy had picked up the win after Sheamus and Corbin, and after Sheamus eliminated Corbin. But Sami Zayn was never eliminated, so he came out of nowhere, threw Jeff Hardy over the top rope, and he was about to celebrate his win. But then there was breaking news that Brock Lesnar's suspension has been lifted and he will be at Smackdown next week. So Sami Zayn didn't get to comment. The conspiracy continues. Monday Night Raw. I thought it was a very good episode of Monday Night Raw this week, so let's get into what happened on the show. One of my favourite things, Seth Rollins had a great opening promo, nothing too long, it went about 2 or 3 minutes, short and sweet, very nice promo. Seth Rollins is absolutely amazing, and it continued on being amazing as we opened with Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. 3 3/4, a great opening match, only went about 10 minutes, so it didn't overstay its welcome. Super fast paced back and forth action, amazing sequences, and a clean finish as well, as Seth Rollins picked up the victory, as you'd expect, as he's going into a championship match, which will take place at day 1 against Big E. We followed on with Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan having a phenomenal contract signing. Really good stuff from both of them here, especially Liv Morgan. This was the best I've seen from Liv Morgan. I thought she was absolutely phenomenal in this segment, and even mentioned about Ruby and Sarah being fired because of Becky's, getting a massive big contract, which she did. She got, I think she was offered like a long-term super big contract, is what Becky's under. And to be honest, why can't she? She probably negotiated for that. Why can't she? She's the biggest star there, along with Roman Reigns. So, both made good points. So that set up a match next week for the title. I think maybe shenanigans will happen and Becky retains. Then you do the rematch at day 1 and Liv Morgan wins it there. That's what I would do personally. But later in the night we had Team Bex versus Team Liv in a tag team match. I think it was 5-on-5. I would say it was a good match. It was very long and it was in 3 stages. The first stage wasn't bad, but it was just a bit odd and weird, like weirdly paced. Everything seems to be stop and start. It didn't really connect. After the break, it was still a bit sloppy and a bit boring, but it moved along a bit better, if you know what I meant. It became more of a normal match, but nothing exciting happened. And then in this third stage, it went chaos, loads of big moves, and became a very good match by the end. So it definitely, the first half of the match wasn't great, but the second half was. And so that just made it a passable match. Liv Morgan picked up the victory, and I can't help but think that she needs a new finisher. Just doesn't do it for me, that finish. Other things that happened on the show, RK Bro defended their titles against the Dirty Dogs in quite a good match, 3 1/4 stars. Decent stuff here. RK Bro are always entertaining and have great chemistry in the ring. I didn't buy Dirty Dogs winning until the zigzag near the end of the match. That got me. I generally thought the titles were going to change hands, and I thought that would have been stupid and I would have gone on a rant about it. But luckily, RK Bro retained. Good stuff. Damian Priest defending his United States Championship against Apollo Crews. Only went about 5 minutes. Well, I think there was a break in the middle, but about 5 minutes. And it was fun while it lasted. A solid little match. I never really bought Apollo as winning this. Priest picked up the victory, much like it has been in recent weeks. He got pissed off near the end of the match and changed into his more evil character and beat him up and won. But fine stuff. The Mysterios had a squash match, won in like 5 minutes against Cedric and Shelton. It was fine, bit of momentum back on the Mysterio side. Styles and Omos. Styles was pretending he was blinded last week by the fire extinguishers as the Profits took on Alpha Academy. A decent little match, nothing out of this world. And in the end, Styles tried to interfere, magically was healed and tried to interfere but failed. And Street Profits picked up the victory. The only thing I didn't like on this show was the Austin Theory Vince McMahon stuff. It wasn't bad by or anything, but I just didn't really get it. I guess we'll have to see where it's going in the future. Edge returned to Monday Night Raw and was cutting a good promo, and then The Miz returned to Monday Night Raw and interrupted, and they had an amazing back and forth. Miz made a good point about Edge getting all this talk about his return, all these promos about his return, and Miz didn't get any of that, and he felt disrespected. And Edge pointed out that you could have just not returned then, until you got what you want. But then gave props to The Miz and everything he's accomplished in the last 15 years and scratched and clawed to get where he is, and Edge has done the same thing. So it was nice back and forth, giving props to The Miz, but also insulting him, calling him basically like a prima donna. He demands respect while Edge earns it. Which, so both making good points and solid points, and just a great back and forth. And the match, I'm hoping, will take place at day one, I assume, Edge and Miz. That's going to be a phenomenal match. I don't know if they've ever wrestled before. I don't think they have. Maybe they have, but, not this Miz. Not a great wrestler Miz, which he is now. And there was one notable moment, as I believe in AEW, CM Punk said something to MJF saying, "You're a less famous version than Miz," which really is not really an insult, to be honest. I mean, Miz is a WrestleMania main eventer, one of the best Intercontinental Champions of all time, former WWE champion, multiple big matches in his career, movies, he's done loads of stuff, being on loads of different TV shows, had his own reality TV show. Man, he's done tons of stuff. A lot of wrestlers would kill for a career like him. So, to me, it just sounded like bitterness and sour grapes from Punk.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
It is kind of sad what's happened to Punk. 10 years ago, he was the rebel against the system, and now he's just a bitter old man. But Edge said to Miz, you got people on other shows mentioning your name for a, cheap reaction, which is what it was. It was for a cheap reaction. And yeah, if you take shots, you can take shots back. And Edge made Punk look like a clown. So, moving on from that, the main event was Big E versus Kevin Owens. If Kevin Owens won, he would be inserted into a triple threat at day one with Big E and Seth. And Seth Rollins was on commentary. Kevin tried to provoke Seth at a couple of points, but didn't manage to. A very good match, nice back and forth. Definitely picked up in the second half. Then eventually Owens just literally beat the crap out of Seth, and that made Seth retaliate and, cost Big E the match, and now it's a triple threat. And great realization moment from Seth as he realized it was going to be a triple threat. And his commentary was really funny, especially his interactions with Byron and Corey. So overall, a very solid episode of Raw. Really enjoyed this one. A lot of stuff. It felt like they packed in so much into this. So I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Very good show. Stardom, on the 27th of November, held their pay-per-view, Kawasaki Super Wars Dose. There was 8 matches on this card. We opened with the Future of Stardom Championship as Ruaka defended her title against the amazing, the outstanding, the beautiful, the cute, the devilish Moon, Waka Tsukiyama, and also the great Mai Sakurai, in a triple threat 3-way match. 3 stars, it was a solid opener. Ruaka, unfortunately Waka didn't pick up the win, so Ruaka won with a freezer bomb, pinning Mai Sakurai, who I will say in this match, Mai Sakurai actually looked really good in this match. I think she definitely improved a lot and had a solid performance from her. So really good stuff from Mai Sakurai, props to her. Waka was a usual fun self, and it was a solid match. 3 stars, a nice way to open the show. After the match, the masked woman attacked Ruaka, and Waka, and Mai, and the referee. She attacked everyone, and then continued attacking Ruaka before Starlight Kid made the save. So who is this masked woman? I'm really intrigued, and I hope we find out very soon. Second match was Eel Towers, Unagi Sayaka and Lady C teaming up to take on Momo AZ. 3 1/4, pretty decent match, solid stuff, nice back and forth action. I don't remember a huge amount from it, but Lady C was wearing Unagi's face paint, which was really cool, and hit a beautiful chokeslam on Azumi. In the end, Azumi pinned Lady C after a not so great double foot stomp. It definitely looked like Lady C was too far out and Azumi couldn't quite hit it. But a nice match. Everyone played their parts well, I guess. I did skip the next match. It was Mayu, Hanan and Hazuki taking on Saki, Rina and the Clown. I went to sleep for like 10 minutes, so it obviously didn't go too long, and I'm sure I didn't miss much. other than a cringy clown. I saw though that Stars did pick up the win, as I'd expect. We then had a triple threat, with the winner receiving a Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Himeka took on Natsupoi and Saya Kamitani. I was really rooting for Poi in this match. Really nice three-way match. They used the stipulation well of all three. Himeka definitely had some issues, especially to start with. Even before the bell rung, Himeka was attacking Poi. They were going straight at each other. But nice back and forth between all three. All three definitely got a shine. As I said, Himeka was showing off a lot of great power moves as well. In the end, however, Poi was pinned by Saya Kamitani. 3.5 stars. A very good match. Nothing out of this world, but just a very good match. Similar to the last three-way on the last pay-per-view. I like these three-way matches between some of the bigger stars. They're pretty fun matches. Then we had the high-speed match. Starlight Kid took on Koguma. Great match. Really great match. I still haven't determined what I'm going to give this match, star rating-wise. It's between 3 3/4 and 4 stars. I'm going to have to re-watch it. But still, great match. Great high-speed match. Koguma is actually, ridiculously quick than you'd expect from her body type. But really nice stuff in this one. And Koguma is super, super cute. Just wanted to point that out. But they kept up the high speed throughout the entire match. I don't know how long it went. I think it ran around 10 minutes. Never slowed down at any point. Just really action-packed. In the end, Starlight Kid did pick up the victory with her roll-up finish. Kind of protecting Koguma, I guess. Then we had the SWA Championship on the line as Syuri took on Konami under UWF rules, and I can definitely tell you now, I would not be watching any more UWF matches. The Mirai Miu one was quite bad, and this one was worse. This was just a boring match. It's fine having elements of MMA in wrestling. Syuri does it well in her singles matches. Even Konami has it in her matches. Brock Lesnar in WWE, he hasn't that element of MMA in it. That's fine, no issue with that. But that's usually at least 65% wrestling, 35% MMA. While this was about 85% MMA. And I just don't care about MMA. If I wanted to watch an MMA match, I would watch an MMA match, wouldn't I? Why would I want to see it in a wrestling venue? I don't want to see this. It's just not interesting to me. It was slow, plodding, quite dull, especially near the end. Konami looked like she was moving in slow motion. I actually thought that the stream had broken again, because it did break earlier. But Konami just looked in 50% speed. And then Syuri dropped Konami on her head, and I don't really remember how it ended. It just sort of ended out of nowhere. Did not like this match at all. 3/4 of a star, just a horrible match that I will definitely never be watching this one again. And if it ever shows up on a compilation, I'm definitely skipping that. Good God, I don't want to see that again. Complete opposite end of the scale. The semi-final was for the white belt, the Wonder of Stardom Championship, as Tam Nakano defended her title against the glorious Mina Shirakawa, whose character work in recent weeks and months has been absolutely outstanding. The VT before the match showed the crazy Mina. She's obsessed with, overcoming Tamu and getting that white belt. It's making her go crazy. And she came out, new gear, new hair, new jacket, just a complete new look. She looked cool, badass, crazy, and absolutely outstanding and glamorous. I said that she had the best gear in Joshi, and somehow she improved upon that. That shouldn't even be possible, but she did that. So her new gear has sort of gold lining throughout it all, and gold tassels down the side, a new top and everything. She's got a new black jacket, black darkened hair. She looked, and also she was crying in the VT, and she had like the tear things on her eyes, in her gear, which looked amazing. She just looks like a star. She looks like an absolute star. And I was so desperate for her to win the white belt here, because she just looked absolutely amazing. So the match, what a match. What a beautiful match. Great storytelling in this one. They told a brilliant story with each other. So early on, it was sort of Mina was trying to provoke Tam. And Tam was sort of holding emotion back. I guess because she thought if she let out that emotion, she might make a mistake and Mina might take the belt from her. And she's desperate to keep onto that belt. So Mina was giving it all, throwing loads of punches and kicks, and just trying to get Tam to bust out emotions and make a mistake, which didn't happen. And then Mina giving her all, eventually Tam hit a big move on Mina, didn't pick up the win, however, and then that sort of frustrated Tam that she couldn't pick up the victory. And then she made a mistake, got a DDT'd off the apron by Mina, which let Mina control the match. There was some really great sequences in this. As I said, the story was great in itself, and there were some really fun sequences with the back fist. There was a great tiger bomb from Tam Nakano after a great back and forth moment. That was probably the peak of the match. That was my favourite moment in the match. But Mina was given the fight of her life, and just the emotion on both their faces as they were fighting each other. Just such beautiful storytelling, a beautiful match. Mina gave it all. She went for the glamorous driver but couldn't connect with it. Tam then went and hit the screwdriver and the violet shooting for the victory. But Mina looks amazing in defeat here. She gave it her all and gave her best performance of her career. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Definitely go out of your way to see this one. Again, I'm torn what to give it, 4.25 and 4.5 stars. I'm thinking I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I think it was on the level with Unagi's match with Tam. Maybe even higher, or maybe that's my bias towards Mina showing through there that I prefer it. But just a beautiful storytelling match. And this is what Tam Nakano is best at. Is she's best at telling stories and having these emotional masterpieces of matches. I really enjoyed this one. And hopefully in 2022, Mina will get her just desserts and get another title. The main event was for the World of Stardom Championship as Maika challenged Utami Hayashishita, and I think it was fairly predictable who was winning this match. Didn't stop it from being a brilliant match. I would say it was still on the level of their last match in January. I think it was in January, their last match. The one where Maika's leg selling was amazing. She was still taped up a little bit here, by the way, even after her little break. But they had a very fun back and forth match, loads of great near falls. Had a big fight feeling. In the end, Utami did pick up the victory as expected. But, it was just a usual Stardom main event. But I think the final few minutes just made it go over the 4-star limit to maybe 4.25. But great main event, definitely a match you should check out. If you're a huge Maika or Utami fan, you'll love this match, I'm sure. But really, really solid ending. So those final two matches, for me, made the Stardom show worth it. Thought they were two brilliant matches, and I enjoyed the three-way as well, and Kito and Koguma as well was the sleeper hit of the night. The only match that two matches I didn't really care for was the 6-woman tag, which I skipped, and the atrocious UWF rules match, which I never need to see again. Why can't Shira and Konami just be given a 15-minute singles regular match to go out there and steal the show? Instead, they were shortchanged in March, and now in November they are given a horrible stipulation that ruined it. It's a shame. But, was it worth buying the pay-per-view for? I would say yes, because of Tam and Mina, which was my match of the night. And MVP? Of course, Mina Shirakawa. Great match, great show. Really enjoyed it. 25th of November, TJPW held their All Rise show at Kurikan Hall. Another big TJPW show. There was 7 matches on a pretty decent show. Nothing out of this world on this one. Definitely one of the weaker ones of the year.
せーの、東京女子プロレススタート。ありがとうございました。
We open with a solid 3-star match as Suzume and Endo Arisu, also known as Arisuzu, took on Marika Kobashi and Moka Miyamoto. As I said, 3 stars, solid opener, nothing out of this world. I'm really liking Suzume and Endo as a team. I definitely see a huge future for them as a team. And Marika and Moka also work well. Moka showed a lot of aggression, and she's continuing to show a lot more aggression recently, which is nice to see. I was very impressed with her in this one, and she continues to impress me. And of course, Marika Kobashi looked absolutely stunning as usual. And the great thing is, she picked up the victory. So happy to see Marika on a winning streak. She's an absolute star in the making. The second match was a 6-woman tag as Yuki Aino teamed up with God Raku and Pom Harajuku, taking on the Feline 3. Now Kakata, who used to be a cat, Haruna Neko, who is a cat, and Mahiro Kiryu, who likes cats. Solid, really fun tag match, better than I thought it would be. I thought this was just going to be a 2-star match, 2.5-star match, but I gave it 3.25. Pretty fun match. Everyone got to get their stuff in and look good. Now Kakuta's kicks were really on point in this match. Mahiro Kiryu continued to do her new move, her new Superman punch move, which was really cool to see. Pom, Aino and Raku were a really good team. Yuki Aino actually showing some personality. Haruna Neko was really fun in this match. Even when she was doing the rope walk and Pom shake the ropes to knock her off it. And there was a really, really funny moment because Yuki Aino was just in awe of the cuteness of Haruna Neko, who was doing her little jump and wave with her paws. And Yuki Aino wanted a hug from Neko, and Neko looked like she was going to oblige, but then just scratched her face. Typical of a cat. Never trust a cat. Also, the commentary from Aki and Chris Brooks was hilarious. I think there was one point when Pom was kicking Neko's leg, and he goes, "No, you can't do that. Cats have very nice legs." Okay, Aki. But in the end, Haruna Neko picked up the victory. What an awesome moment. I was super proud of that. Super happy to see Haruna Neko picking up a victory. And I'm hoping for more in the future because I absolutely love Neko-chan. And we'll be speaking a lot about Neko-chan later in the show. The next match was 3.5-star match, so a very good match, as Hyper Misawa took on Yuki Kamifuku, also known as Kamiyu. To start out the match, usually Misawa gets the mic and brings her own rules, but Kamiyu this time brought her own rules. And it was going to be a quiz first, so you can win either by answering 3 questions right or by wrestling. So they sat down at a table for the quiz, and all the questions were about Yuki Kamifuku and her family, which was really funny, because obviously Hyper Misawa wasn't able to answer them. Kamiyu got the first 2 right, and before they could answer the third one, Misawa attacked Kamiyu after realising that she's been duped into this quiz. They then had a very fun match, good back and forth stuff. At one point they went outside the ring. Kamiyu attacked Misawa with alcohol, the alcohol bottle, the ring sanitizer. And then Misawa attacked Kamiyu with the cold spray, and then went in the ring and had a face-off with the cold spray versus the alcohol, and they both went down at the end of it. After a few minutes of back and forth, Yuki Kamifuku picked up the victory with a roll-up, outsmarting Misawa, which was the story of the match. She outsmarted Misawa every turn. Really cool stuff, very fun match, definitely check it out. Happy to see Kamiyu picking up the W. Next was the sleeper hit of the night and match of the night for me, Shoko Nakajima, the big kaiju, taking on Chubby Chubby King Kong, Nodoka Tenma, 3 3/4. Great match, just an awesome match. Nodoka Tenma does not get enough attention for how good she is. She's had a great year, and she delivered another top performance in this one against Shoko, who also had a good performance. A lot of great moments in this one, a lot of great power moves from Nodoka Tenma, and it was a very power versus speed match between 2 very short individuals. In the end, Shoko Nakajima picked up the victory, but a valiant effort from Madoka Tenma. Really fun match that you should definitely check out, and my match of the night. Next up was Yuki Arai taking on Rika Tatsumi. 3¼ stars. Pretty fun match. I enjoyed my time with this one. It wasn't like a classic or anything, but it was just a well done match. Like, I wasn't super into it, but I can understand that it was well done. They told a good story with Rika Tatsumi working over Yuki Arai's leg and really showing her veteran status to the new blood that is Yuki Arai. But Yuki Arai gave it her all. There was one point that scared me a moment. It was when Yuki Arai hit a scoop slam on a delayed scoop slam on Rika Tatsumi, but you could definitely see her leg shaking in the back, and I genuinely was worried for a second she was going to drop Rika on her head. But luckily, she controlled herself and managed to hit the scoop slam successfully. Couple of near falls for Yuki Arai, but in the end, she had to tap out to the figure 4. Just a solid 3¼ solid match. If you're a fan of Yuki Arai, you'll probably enjoy this a lot. And I like Yuki Arai, and she's really improving at a solid rate, because I think 2-3 months ago this would have been a bad match, but like the one with Mirai. But she's improved a lot, and it doesn't hurt being in there with a great wrestler like Rika Tatsumi. Really enjoyed this one. Then we had the second best match of the night. Hikari Noah defended her International Princess Championship against Miyu Watanabe. 3¾ a great match, not as great as I thought it would be. For the first half of the match, it did really feel like they were sort of going through the motions, if you know what I mean. It just didn't feel like they were giving it like 120%. It just felt like your standard match that you'd expect in your head. They really did not hit expectations that I expected too much. It's still a great match, like, don't get me wrong, like, this is just comparative to what I thought it would be. They did pick it up in the final few minutes, however. The final few minutes was like the final 2 minutes of a great 20-minute match. But the first half of the match just didn't really do it for me. But overall, still great match. Hikari picked up the victory. Sort of a flat ending with the Exploder Suplex, because there was one from the top rope that didn't pick up the victory. But Hikari picked up the victory with just one Exploder Suplex in the middle of the ring. Just, it felt a little bit flat, and I was really expecting Miyu to win this one. But congratulations to Hikari. Still a great match, definitely still check it out. But just don't go in with huge expectations. The main event was for the Princess Tag Team Championships, which was Majirabi taking on Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita. Or should I say Miyu Yamashita and her sidekick. Still a very good match. I gave it 3½ stars. I wasn't a fan of the opening stuff. A lot of Majirabi's offense did feel a bit slow. And it was sort of like Ito and Miyu had to stand there awkwardly for like at least 10 seconds in one spot. Like just stand there like looking at them, like waiting for the move to happen. That just looked a bit iffy, and that happened a couple of times early on. But there was a lot of big moves, and it was a worthy main event. In the end, after a lot of back and forth and chaos, all four getting in the ring, all hitting their finishes, a skull kick on Yuka. In the end, Mizuki, after a nice sequence with Miyu, picked up the victory and pinned Miyu Yamashita. This means that on January 4th, we will have Miyu versus Mizuki for the title, and I can say that I do not care about that match at all, but that's just me. But a match I do care about is there is going to be a 4-way staggered battle royal to determine an 8-way staggered battle royal, to determine who's going to be facing Hikari Noah on January 4th for the International Princess Championship. Now you can go on Wrestle Universe's Twitter page and you can find a Google form to vote who you want to be in the Battle Royal. There will be 8 people in it. I, of course, voted for Marika Kobashi. You have to have Wrestle Universe subscription, by the way. I voted for Marika Kobashi to be in it. Hopefully she gets in it. And I want to see Hikari Noah versus Marika Kobashi 2. And I want a different result this time with Marika picking up the win. That would be an awesome way to start the year. But that match I'm more excited for than the main event. So that was my thoughts on TJPW All Rise. Overall, I thought it was a solid show. I thought it was decent stuff. Very good show. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. Nothing out of this world, but there was nothing bad either. Everything was above solid or good. Just a quite enjoyable, easy show to watch. Even if the Hikari Miyu match didn't reach my expectations. But maybe that was my fault. But definitely worth checking out. Some news regarding Ice Ribbon. A bunch of superstars have left the promotion or have become freelancers in that Maya Yukihi is no longer contracted to Ice Ribbon. She will still be appearing there. She will just be a freelancer, so I assume that's just financial for her, I guess. But a lot of other people have left, including Akane Fujita, Risa Serra, Mochi Miyagi, and I believe also Suzu Suzuki. They're going to be focusing on death matches from now on outside of Ice Ribbon, which means I do not give a crap about any of them anymore. So, well, Suzu had a promising career, but I no longer care about it. So, there's that. If that's what you're into, enjoy it, but I will not be watching any more matches from them, it seems. So, oh well. Shame. And one thing about Suzu Suzuki is, I remember she had a match in January and she was like excellent. And I saw her match recently, it was a tag match, and she definitely has regressed in the ring by quite a lot as well. Like, she was nowhere near as good as she used to be. Usually a young rookie's meant to get better as they grow, but she seems to have peaked early and started regressing, so oh well, it is what it is. Appreciation Corner. So again on Twitter I asked for appreciation comments for a wrestler. This time it was Haruna Neko. What is it about Haruna Neko makes you a fan? What do you love about Neko-chan? And she actually seemed to read the comments at the time, which was really nice. She liked them all the replies, which is really nice of her that she got to see these nice comments and hopefully she understood them and smiled from them. So here's the responses I got. One of the most likeable wrestlers on the roster. She's just one of the cutest and I always look forward to matches involving her because they're always fun. With an emoji of a cat. That's true. She's just, how can you not love Neko-chan? She's just a ball of fun that makes you smile. And you'll always smile at one point during her matches. I like her gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It is her. She is actually a cat. She is undeniably cute, but when Aki marks out for her whenever he is on commentary, I couldn't resist it. Yes, Bally and Aki is an absolutely huge fan of Haruna Neko. Not so much for Chris Brooks, but definitely Bally and Aki loves her. And I'm all for it. I think he should... I want to see Bally and Aki and Haruna Neko as a tag team at one point. That would be amazing. Imagine that. Be just outstanding. But he's always defending Neko-chan. And even came up with the catchphrase, it's legal if it's cute, because when Neko does her scratches, which aren't technically legal, but it's cute, so it gets a pass. She has tons of charisma and a natural feel-good aura. That's perfect explanation. You just feel good when you watch her, and yeah, I agree with that. She has loads of charisma. She's someone your eyes are glued to. I recently have seen her, and to be honest, she looks like a nice cat who will make your face with scars. Fair enough, she does look like a nice cat, and yes, you shouldn't always trust a cat because she will scratch you up. She will do that. Haruna Neko, for me, one of my favourites in TJPW, just because she's so much fun to watch. And as people said, she just makes you feel good, feel happy. Her match is always fun. I'm hoping she picks up more wins in the future. She has some really cool moves as well. Like, I like her code breaker, her rope walk. I like that she does loads of cat offense. It's really funny and really sweet. And Balinaki marking out for her on commentary will never not be amazing. So let's continue the agenda on Twitter. #Neko4Champ. Thank you for listening to the Decent Wrestling Show. Again, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and arrivederci.
Go night. Go.